Trump administration has decided they have had enough of California catering to illegal aliens instead of protecting its citizens and our border agents. Last week, Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf defended herself for tipping off illegal aliens to an ICE raid that was about to take place. That was the final straw for the White House and for Jeff Sessions. And by the way, for me as well. The woman needs to be arrested for aiding and abetting wanted felons. It was also the last straw for the entire Trump administration that's now suing the state of California for their sanctuary laws and obstructing federal immigration enforcement. Yesterday, Jeff Sessions addressed the lawsuit and specifically pointed out Mayor Libby Schaaf's disgraceful and, I believe, illegal actions.
Tom Homan, the director of ICE, has said recently, quote, being a law enforcement officer is already dangerous enough. But to give the criminals a heads up that we're coming in the next 24 hours increases that risk. I watched the mayor's statement when she said her priority is the safety of the community, but what she did had the exact opposite effect, close quote. And I think that's a fair criticism and statement. According to Acting Director Homan, ICE failed to make 800 arrests that would have been made if the mayor had not made her statement. Those are 800 wanted criminals that are now at large in that community.
And the Attorney General gets it straight, as always. She wanted to talk about the safety of her citizens. Not only did she put those ICE agents in danger, because look, the element of surprise is huge for law enforcement, for the military, for any that is planning to go out and conduct an operation like this, specifically a warrant roundup. Surprise is everything. When you take away that, you put those agents in danger. Beyond that, it is clear that this woman put the rest of society in danger by allowing these wanted felons, yes, felons, these are not the people picking vegetables, sending money back to Mexico that the left wants you to believe they are. These are MS-13 gang members. These are rapists. These are murderers. These are armed robbers that are wreaking havoc on society. That mayor of Oakland let those people roam free to do what? Simply victimize an American citizen or even an immigrant, an illegal immigrant for that matter. They don't care who they victimize. They'll victimize everybody. Well, I want to bring in now Dale Wilcox. He's the executive director of the Immigration Reform Law Institute. Dale, it is great to see you again.
Good to see you too.
You know, Dale, we haven't talked since Libby Schaaf, the mayor of Oakland, came out with this tip-off deal. It was absolutely flabbergasting to me that it happened, and I do believe it's illegal, and I do believe she should be arrested.
It's outrageous. You had mentioned obstruction of justice. I would go one step further. We actually have a law, a federal law that prohibits harboring, criminalizes harboring of illegal aliens. And harboring is defined by assisting them to remain in the United States. So not only do I think that she would be liable to be criminally prosecuted for obstruction of justice, but for harboring those illegal aliens.
Now, here's the problem about California. And you know, of course, on my program, I like to bring everything back to guns because it's so important. Literally, they've disarmed the good people in California and doing everything they can to disarm the good people. Now she allows these wanted violent felons to roam the streets of California. Good law-abiding citizens in California have no ability to protect themselves from these crazies, these crazy loons that have no second thought about using a firearm to take a life. They have no regard for humanity whatsoever. And yet she flouts what federal immigration law. I mean, she literally spits in the face of the United States of America.
You're absolutely right. California, those officials in California just keep compiling wrong on top of wrong. And thankfully, the feds have finally gone on offense and have stepped in to stop this madness by filing the lawsuit Tuesday evening against the state of California.
Dale, you know what I think this exposes? It exposes the absolute desire for open borders. They don't want borders. They yell about a wall. Forget about a wall. They don't want any border between the United States and Mexico.
Well, you're absolutely right. California, their legislature has done everything it can to prohibit the feds from enforcing immigration law. The three statutes that are being challenged by this new federal lawsuit against California demonstrate how far they've gone to accommodate illegal aliens. AB 450. It prohibits federal immigration agents from accessing private employers' premises without a judicial warrant. Now, if you know anything about immigration law, this is not an Article 3 court type situation. It's administrative warrants. There's only administrative warrants authorized under the INA for immigration matters. So it's impossible to have a judicial warrant. So they know what they're doing. They're trying to shut down any kind of immigration enforcement. One of the other statutes that they are challenging, it prohibits or it allows the state of California, specifically the Attorney General, to go into federal detention facilities or facilities that the federal government have contracted with state, inspect those, look at all the arrest records, determine if there was due process for the non-citizens, and it gives the state the authority to open all the detention facilities records and interview federal officers and officials and look at their records, which actually violates federal law. It's absurd what California has done.
It's beyond absurd when you think that we have gotten to a point where you have elected leaders who put their hand on a Bible and took an oath to the United States of America that literally now wants to say to a law enforcement officer from the federal government that says, no, we're not going to help you get a violent criminal off the street because it's more important that they rile up their base, who happens to be many of them illegals as well, simply for votes and simply to play politics. But the problem now, Dale, is they are paying politics with people's lives.
Oh, you're absolutely right. It's sad for the people of California. They are considering the rights and interests of foreign nationals over citizens, the safety and protection of their citizens. It's disgraceful.
You know, I will say this too, and I want everybody out there to know this. They are not going after the people that simply snuck into the country. Now, mind you, they are criminals too. They broke the law the moment they snuck into the country. If they sneak into the country and are not causing any trouble, I will tell you, whether you say you want them caught or not, that is not who the federal government is going after right now. The federal government is going after the worst of that group. The reason being is I have gone out on warrant roundups. It can take you 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 hours to find one wanted fugitive, sometimes days. They've got to prioritize. You've got to go after the worst of the worst first before you go down to the guy who's picking vegetables, sending back money to their sons and daughters in Mexico. They're going after felons, and the left wants to trick everybody into thinking that they're going after these people who are just working hard, trying to send money home and paint this big picture of everything's rosy. These are bad dudes. What was Trump's word? These are bad hombres coming across here, MS-13 gang members, and they need to be taken off the streets. Libby Schaaf let them skate, every single one of them. She ought to be arrested, and she ought to be ashamed of herself.
I absolutely agree. And the third law that the feds are challenging is the law that prohibits state and local sheriffs, police officers from transferring criminals into federal custody. It's shameful. They should be considering the safety of their residents. And as you stated, it's much more dangerous when these criminals who are held in jails currently are released into the community, and then federal agents have to go out into the community and rearrest them under circumstances that might not be so favorable. Innocent bystanders could get injured, not to mention the agents and the criminal aliens themselves.
Wouldn't it be nice just to walk into a county jail and say, that's the guy we want. I know you're letting him go. Thank you. We'll take him from here. Nobody gets hurt. The community is safe. The law is enforced. End of story. Not happening in California, and sadly not happening in too many states and cities across this country. Dale Wilcox, we appreciate the work that you do. Thank you, sir. We will talk again soon, I'm sure.
Good to see you.
Good to see you as well.